So just want to thank the original custodians of these lands. Just welcome all them here to this space. Welcoming those in spirit who love us to guide us to this space as well. To just honour the land that we lay. We call this name of this land Aggregating, which means creek crossing. And the country we're on is Bunjalung country. And yeah, thank you everyone for coming. As the smoke goes around, I'll just have a little bit of a chat about who I am and what sort of brought me to ground down this vision, this BeeUnity network. A few years ago, I got off the road of traveling around the world and getting my taste of, you know, all these different environments, and I realized that I wasn't living life in a way that was sustainable every single day. I'd work for a segment, I'd travel for a segment. I wasn't living life in a way which was welcoming myself to come together with any environment. There was always going to be a next environment. And so in 2019 I decided to give life a go, and I learnt a lot. I was aiming to start a surf academy, which was going to be like channeled into a hub experience. And it was epic dreaming that was coming through, but what I realized is that I was channeling through someone else's dreaming. I wasn't channeling through the dreaming that honors me. And what I realized quickly after that experience is that my dreaming is to live in community with people, to be able to live with the land, and to do it in a way which is working with natural law, working with the natural elements. And so I studied permaculture. I moved to this region in January of last year, and 1 month after 1 month after 1 month, everything just continued to come my way with learnings. I went down this magnificent route of syntropic farming and regenerative style growing, and got the opportunity to be able to live in many different circumstances. Last year I was doing a lot of regenerative cleansing on myself as well, and I spent a lot of time, not by choice but more by divine choice, around Krishna consciousness people, and really learnt the ways of the material mind and being able to find balance in this realm as we transition together to form a new way, a decentralized way, which is more localized. And so yeah, I got all the necessary learnings that I was meant to get to come to this point right now, and there's still many learnings to come. I know that. And over the last month, I realized that I wanted to be able to ground down these visions that I'd been having of a mobile village network. And a dear friend, Banya, who runs the agroecology courses at the farm in Byron Bay, described to me the understanding of how the original people of these lands would bounce between 6 or 7, 8 different waterholes, and they'd always have one mother waterhole. And they created abundance in these waterholes, and what they would do is they would navigate themselves through the lands based on what was going on with the weather cycles, and allowing the natural fluent behaviours to be able to take place. And it just made total sense. And then I started seeing it in every single part of the natural realm of this embraced ideology of being able to work with some sort of homing device, and then to be able to create a giving and receiving relationship, and then be able to transition that to another homing device. And there's always some sort of container, which is some sort of area that you stop yourself from crossing, you know, like a bee not going too far away from its beehive. And that's why we've decided to channel that through the BeeUnity. Also, about 1 month ago, I came across a man named Paul who's developing this app called Tribeys, and the frequency he was carrying allowed me to be able to transition that into myself to absorb and create structure around all these dreamings that I had been having. And so he was the duck landing in the pond, and that created a ripple effect toward me and many others that are carrying these different frequencies. And the ability to be able to hold that, to be able to see how structure can be sacred in a giving and receiving relationship with all of us coming together, and being able to put that into some sort of beautiful expression is so important for us to come together in a new way. And so yeah, I've come up with this presentation with the support of beautiful Kiara and Stevie, working with my fire to be able to get something that is able to be visible, to be able to be captured, and can be taken and expanded and absorbed and spread however it wants to grow, because it's based on natural law, and it's going to grow if it decides to take off. So pretty much BeeUnity is aggregating the unified embodiment of natural law between sacred lands and tribes to create a multiple land, decentralized, mobile village custodianship network for all of our future. That's it. So thanks for coming, guys. Yeah, I wanted to be able to capture everything I could within that short sentence, and that's pretty much what BeeUnity is about. It's embracing something that I don't think has been done, but it's definitely coming through the dreaming of many people at the moment. There's a lot of people that are coming through with similar dreaming, and you can just start to see that expression of Gaia really starting to, it's throwing those ideas out there, and it's up to us to be able to capture them and ground them. So if you've read the vision statement, I talk a lot about aggregation, and this is something I really absorbed from the Tribeys presentation and Paul. And then I started meditating on it, and what I understood is that this infinite symbol is incredible in the art of understanding aggregation. So pretty much Uber and Airbnb are both aggregates. They aggregate the people who want a service, and they put them in the service. So Uber is the biggest taxi company in the world and doesn't own a car because it's an aggregate. Airbnb is the biggest hotel company in the world, doesn't own a hotel because it aggregates energy. It's working with natural law, and they will continue to expand across the whole world because they're working with natural law. BeeUnity and this network structure is about aggregating the tribes and the land, creating a point of coming together to allow fluent energy of giving and receiving to take place forever and ever, and to grow like a forest grows. So the idea that I felt came through with the infinite symbol is similar to how our connection with Source and Gaia works. Our heart is the aggregate for our connection to Source and Gaia. If our heart is in balance, the rest of our chakras balance out a lot easier. When our channel is clear, it allows information from Source and from Gaia to come through, and it's up to us to be able to sit in our heart space, to be able to capture that aggregation energy, that giving and receiving energy that is moving from Source and Gaia, to then be expressed in this material realm. That's the human experience. And then we've got a little symbol here, which is, the BeeUnity network. It's working with the land, it's working with Gaia, and it's working with us, the tribes, as we come together, and it's creating a sacred structure in the middle, which creates a constant flow of giving and receiving. When it comes to the spiral and understanding syntropy, which is life, abundance, flourishing, and the opposite of that is entropic, which is death, senescence, on its way out. We are all riding a spiral to a unified, fully embodiment frequency. And what are we doing at the moment is we're starting to come together along this spiral at points. And these points are starting to come closer and closer together. And we, as people, coming together on these unity frequency embodiment points, it's up to us to recognize that and to be able to allow it to come together more often, because we will start to embrace this tribe-like mentality, this community mentality, as we embark on this unified embodiment more and more, because that's the trend that is happening through Gaia. Gaia's cleansing out. We are expressions of Gaia, and the calling to this unified full embodiment of working with the land, working with each other, is happening through us gathering right now in this very moment. And it will happen again when we come together for a birthday, or we come together for planting some gardens, or we come together for grounding some energy with a drum circle dance. It'll come together when we spend a week on land doing bush regen and living on the land and living like a tribe. When we do that for 1 month, when we decide to do that for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 10 years, it'll just keep happening. And we have to decide when we're ready and when we want to embody the next pulse. That happens through choice and commitment. I love this one. Embody the duck landing in the pond. The frequency will ripple far beyond your comprehension. When we initiate a dreaming, it is like the duck landing in the pond, and that ripple effect will take place. We don't understand how it works. We just know that when we are able to be potent enough to be able to put that staff in the ground, to be able to light that fire, to be able to initiate something in someone's mind, to be able to hold a frequency that someone can carry, it will ripple, because everything works on vibration and frequency embodiment. And we see this by just looking at water. We can throw a rock in the pond and we'll see it ripple, and that's going to change the environments around it. It might. I was watching a ant struggling in the water just the other week, and I was just throwing things in the water, watching a leaf move closer and closer to this ant, and then this ant was able to jump on this leaf, and then slowly this leaf goes to shore, and then this ant is okay. You know, we have the ability, if we're able to understand natural law, to be able to throw out lifeboats, to be able to capture those who are out there looking for something, to be able to say, we've got an answer, we don't need to hold the boat for them, but we can throw that rock in the pond. We can create those ripple effects through however we want to. Could be sharing some footage, it could be talking about an embodiment of something, it could be playing some music and making someone feel good, anything. Recognize your foundations, for we are all not meant to walk the same path. Multiple foundations coming together to form the full experience. Sometimes we're not all meant to be creating from the same foundation, but that's okay, because if you understand the electromagnetism of this world, the polarity of everything, we will be always working with each other, even though we're not going to be working on the same path. For electromagnetism to work, we need to be able to understand that there will need to be some sort of channel in the center, which is the capturing device, and then say a male and a female are on the opposite sides, and through the pure art of them coming together allows energy in the center to be able to rotate. This happens in every form of relation, and we can recognize that with groups of tribes. Some tribes prefer doofing and planting trees, and some prefer pure silence and planting trees. And these are different foundations, and that's okay. We can work together toward the same thing. Recognize it, recognize our tribe. Straight line is born, work job, buy a house, loans, nursing home, pay for your own death. The way that the larger system is set up in this world, all over the world, is for a straight line. Families who sort of pick up on this grow, and they expand, and they allow the money and expansion to stay within the family, and that's why wealthy families stay wealthy, really. And the other 90% of us are trying to figure out ways to catch up. Bend the matrix to meet us where we are at. The land is purchased. Expand your mind and dream with no limitations. Bend the spoon. I understand that if you have got something and you realize that you don't need to be competing with them, rather allow them to understand how to meet you where you're at, we don't have to play catch up. We can just jump on the same ride, you know. And right now in this timeline, it's about coming together and capturing what it's like to come together, so that people get more of an understanding of what it is that they're going to be walking into if they were to, say, just offer the land to such network, which would be the BeeUnity network. They need some sort of sense of security that them being custodians is going to be handed to something that is for a good cause. A lot of people in this world believe that they should get things without working for them. This network won't be able to grow without trusting a process and being able to put ourselves in a point of service as tribes, giving to start with a lot more than receiving. And that's mainly just to be able to capture the product, to be able to show how we can transition landscapes, living a regenerative frequency that people would love to embody and would love to be around. And there's a shit ton of people around this region that can do that. There's no doubt about it. This region is like the mother ark, and yeah, it's amazing. What I've realized is that we've got human needs in how it is that we operate and how it is that we can work with the land and how it is that we can come together. We can't say that something is better than something. We can't say that something is more important than something. And when I look at this scope, I don't see anything that is better than anything there. We've got culture, the arts, water and food, home, medicine, educate. Art. We as humans need creative expression. It's a part of what we're about. It's probably the most important thing that Aboriginal tribes would recognise all over the world. We aren't in a state of unified embodiment. We're in a state of regenerative movement. So we need to be able to look at all of these as equal for where we're at in the time, place and circumstance of this realm. Music and song, dance, painting, poetry and body movement. You can just keep going with that. There's no boxes on this. Home. We need safety, nurture. We need to be able to trust. We need a sense of security, sense of clothing on our skin, sustainable living. Education. To teach and mentor, to learn to live in ceremony, to learn to live in life, embodying BeeUnity values. Water and food, growing, processing, gathering, regenerate. There's no doubt in my mind that a lot of our energy needs to be focused on growing food and working with the land in such a regenerative way that we hit a point where we can then live sustainably. The first step is live regeneratively. The second step is live sustainably. And we can embody sustainable practices, but we need to put a lot of energy into regenerative practices. So sustainable cooking, hunting, water and food can keep on going. There's a lot of people who live around this region who really value water and food. We've got some of the most amazing growers in this region that can just keep on expanding. Medicine, plant medicine, medicine food, healers, shamans, retreats, practice, daily practice, and trauma release. Embodying the regenerative frequency with the land, we need to understand that we are regenerating ourselves, and that involves trauma release. We need to be able to create containers that can hold this. And through coming together as tribe, that is one special container. Because when you come together as tribe and you hold each other's hand and you say, we are going to hold each other through whatever it is that we go through, and you commit to that, there ain't no letting go. Culture. Language, storytelling, sacred fire, initiation, natural law, great spirit. There's a lot of people that believe this country lacks a lot of culture. But if we look a little bit closer, we've got some of the oldest culture in the world with the original peoples of this land. And there are some amazing, wise people who are still holding story, who are still holding language. And through initiations like this, we can work together to be able to support each other to thrive. Values: love, respect, share, witness, trust, natural law. So these are values that I see to be crucial as a part of the BeeUnity network, in not just the BeeUnity network, but people coming together. To respect, acceptance of self and everything, speak to everyone the same, appreciating everything and everyone. To be able to witness through the lens of the heart space. Trust, to be able to trust your intuition, to be able to have faith, to trust the process, to trust in your connection, to trust in divine alignment, to trust your dreams, and to trust in oneself, mind, body, and spirit. To witness, to be able to witness the mind, nature, the universe, Gaia, and Great Spirit, the great mystery. To be able to observe, to be able to listen truly, deeply to each other. And something that I say to a lot of people is that you never know what's going to come out of the creation from silence until you give it a chance. We, as a generally mostly white society, are always filling in the gaps with something. If you can sit there, you will allow the initiation for the deeper layers of what it is that you're witnessing to be able to have a chance to come through. To be able to live with patience. To share joy. It's so important. It's so beautiful to share joy. To be able to give and receive. To be able to speak your truth. To be able to interact. To be able to collaborate, inspire, and to be able to share your vulnerability. A lot of these values and the things that are within these values are a direction that require healing to be embodied, and that's okay. We don't need to say, oh, I'm not ready to live all of these things. It's all right, as long as you're ready to embrace learning how to live these things. Natural law. Learn from nature, natural cycles, elemental expression, life and death, give and receive, sacred structure, water is life. Most people learn natural law by sitting and witnessing for hours, and that could be as simple as sitting by a creek and just watching everything that is taking place in front of you, to be able to be as still as a tree and to find stillness in the mind, to be able to witness all that is. We, as a collective, need to be able to embody natural law so that we can thrive in this realm. It can't be any more clearer than that. To love, to be able to unconditionally love everything. All space is love. That's something that I learnt from the Krishna devotees, is that you find love within yourself, you recognize the love in another, and we fill the space with love, and that all interaction can be love. To be able to live with empathy, to care for each other, and to surrender into the divine heart space. So those are the values. The way in which I see people to come together for this network is fulfilled by 6 different roles. That's the bee seekers, the land providers, the hive buzzers, the short-term buzzers, the permanent custodians, and the gypsy pollinators. We love the bee theme here. The gypsy pollinator is mobile tribe that is the head of the snake, slithering the new wave frequency through the BeeUnity network, raising energy from the ground up, sharing expression of a full embodied regenerative frequency. The gypsy pollinators, I feel like, will be, in the end, once we embody such natural law, frequency, and working with the land, most people will be living this way of life because that's what the land wants, and that's not stagnant, and that's fluent behavior, and that's working with the elements, it's working with the cycles of nature, it's working with the fact that 5 years from now your land will need a rest, and that's okay. That's why we want to form a multiple land custodianship. The permanent tribes, the tribe gathering more permanent on land, grounding longevity and working harmoniously with the land. The short-term buzzers are temporary facilitators, educators and healers offering services to the BeeUnity network. Specialists who don't embody the BeeUnity frequency on a full spectrum, but we welcome in for trainings, healings, to facilitate spaces. It's always going to have this giving and receiving with what's out there to be able to form what's here. You transition with what exists to move away from it. Hive buzzers, permanent facilitators, educators, healers and workers offering services to BeeUnity hives. The hives can be whatever we want them to be, as long as they're aligned with the human needs. These could be things that schooling systems, they could be permaculture hubs, they could be plant medicine hubs, they could be creative hubs where people will go record music. It could be whatever we want it to be. It's totally up to the people that want to embody it. As long as they're working with the human needs, aligned with the values and embracing natural law, let's have fun creating hives. Land providers, the landowner who want to be a part of the BeeUnity network, hosting tribe, village events. Bee seekers, these are people seeking to become a part of the BeeUnity network, learning to live a life embodying the BeeUnity frequency. Everyone, including myself, right now, who is here, is a bee seeker. And that's cool. So, pretty much, the way I see this all to go down is like this. We become these multiple land custodians, and when we're able to allow that to take place, we can start to think about what we want to be trading between the lands. But first we need to embody one land at a time, one gathering at a time, 1 month at a time. Whatever it is that we want to recognize where we're at right now, we can embody. But this is how it will grow. On the lands, we've got mother gardens, perennial food forests, native bush tucker, native rainforest, plant medicine, all grown in a syntropic nature. Most people in this region understand what syntropic is, but I'll quickly go into it. Syntropic gardening is about creating a supporting mechanism which fast tracks the growth of any style of forest. It is about putting certain plants in place using the way that a tree would drop a limb, and pretty much when the limb drops, the mycelium network will transition that death into life by absorbing it, breaking it down and composting it, feeding the nutrients into the ground, the carbon network and the mycelium network below the ground, which is almost like the iceberg effect, will then connect all those nutrients that they absorb to all the other plants to be able to allow them to grow bigger and stronger. The syntropic system is about putting in certain trees and plants into a system that don't mind to be pruned, that we can then chop and drop and feed to the ground to fast track the soil growth, which then allows the mycelium network underneath to grow quicker. And the more that we feed the system, the more that they absorb it, and the more that we can target the nutrients that are being absorbed into the target crops that we actually want to focus on. We don't chop and drop our citrus tree because we want to have citruses in 5-6 years, but we will chop and drop our eucalyptus because they love it, and they will help us create a supporting mechanism for our food forests for the future. It's an amazing concept. I have no doubt in my mind that it is going to spread across the whole world. Having specialized gardens where we can focus on what it is that people can specialize in, but it's about creating some sort of currency tradable material. So hemp, biodynamic annuals, bamboo, composting systems, nurseries, worm farms, anything that allows initiation for self-sustainable and resilient systems to be able to take place on another land. So we can be able to share through a localized currency, through these different things that we grow, and other places can initiate a similar frequency, and one by one the forest will grow. Also on the lands we'll have events, moon ceremonies, markets, small festivals, things like this. You've got the hubs and hives embodying the human needs, the permanent custodians embodying the human needs and the values, the gypsy pollinators embodying the human needs and the values, and the bee seekers embodying the BeeUnity learnings. In between the lands, we've got the connecting lines. On the connecting lines, it's just about creating channels for us to share, to create a giving and receiving relationship with what it is that is around us, but also understanding that we've got to form containers so that we're not spreading ourselves too thin. We want to thrive. That's 100% important. On the connecting lines, we'll be able to share plant propagation material, gypsy pollinators holding the frequency, moving from land to land. The gypsy pollinators can spend 3 months, 1 year, whatever it is, at a land, initiating the frequency from the ground up. They will be a tribe, and I see there to be many gypsy pollinating tribes initiating this frequency on these lands across the world. It's already taken place with trial and error, and the more that we embody this unified spiral effect frequency, the more that we will start to see these sorts of things take place. Creating a decentralized, localized currency exchange between these lands. BeeUnity custodians attending hive experience and events at other lands, so they can travel between. There's no like, this is my land, stay off. It's like, we're part of the BeeUnity network and I want to go do your permaculture course, or I want to go record some music at your studio. You know, we're a part of this network. We can create a giving and receiving relationship, and it's important for us to recognize that during those transactions. And then bee seekers attending hive experiences, events, traveling from land to land. So the way that I see this to expand across the whole world, but starting off with growing our forest here, is we create these BeeUnity networks, which we can recognize as, say, the BeeUnity Dun Dun network, the BeeUnity Wilson's Creek network, the BeeUnity Yukon network, the BeeUnity Nimbin network, Kiowa network, Rosebank network, Mullen Creek network. Within these networks, you recognize that there is different lands, and there's an ability to be able to create these localized currencies that can take place within these structures. Again, we're not expanding too far. We create these containers, and then we can move between each other on a greater level of transaction to take place. This can keep on expanding across as far as you want. This could be the Northern Rivers network. Then you've got the Central Coast network, you know, down south network. That is one container. And then on top of that, you've got the New South Wales network, the Western Australian network, Queensland network. Starts to become these containers. And when we're embodying these sacred structures and understanding natural law, and we create systems that are abiding by sacred structures and natural law, you can create whatever you want. It will grow if you can ground it. So yeah, that is the BeeUnity network presentation, focused as much as I can understand within myself to be able to share with you. So thank you.